talk that I just gave, we can approach this from two different ways, from the point of view of the world or the point of view of the Christ presence within. And of course, yesterday or the day before, I received a Facebook posting. And it said the following, and this is really where we need to begin and end. It says, "You have never manifested a single thing in your life." In other words, you cannot manifest from a place anywhere other than presence. I want you to think about that. You cannot manifest from a place anywhere other than presence. When you are disconnected from presence, your true home, you exist in lack. No matter how perfect your life seems to be. From lack, you manifest in order to fill a void. In other words, to run from the void you sense deep down inside of you. Therefore, whatever you apparently manifest, you cannot be satisfied. No thing can make you happy. But in presence, you are not running from the void. You are one with the void, so there is no void. From a place of fullness, satisfaction, completeness, wholeness, you manifest, or rather, you allow manifestation to happen. You create, or rather, you allow creation to move through you with a spirit of playfulness, ease, lightness, joy. You let go of goals, all ideas of status and success, even the idea of manifestation itself. You are already whole. You fall into the great paradox of manifestation, and you watch, amazed, astonished, grateful, as your beautiful life effortlessly builds itself in front of your eyes, as you follow your deepest truth and inner guidance. Manifestation through relaxation, creation through surrender, building up through letting go, power through effortlessness. The painting of your life painting itself. Here now is where you live, work, play, rest, sleep, and eventually die. In presence, in love, in abundant arms of the miraculous. You do not manifest, you are being manifested. And that sounds very lofty and very ideal, but it is nonetheless truth, and it's where we start. So we're calling this campaign from now to the end of December, Proving Our Power of Prosperity Financial Campaign. Because all we're doing is doing what that text that I just read said. So as I said, thank you first of all for staying and for being here, and for your interest in the well-being of Unity in the Gold Country. Your Board of Trustees has called this meeting because we enter into the final weeks of this year with a deficit financially. And the purpose of this meeting is twofold. So we start in gratitude, and here's the twofold purpose. To outline the need for a one-time gift over and above regular giving to bridge the gap between the income deficit and expenses for 2019. We will give some background and information as to why we have a deficit during this presentation. And secondly, equally important, to outline the need for consistent giving as a way to ensure our abundance going forward, and to eliminate the need for these special type of financial appeals. Also, we want to encourage those who can to increase their giving, but firstly, to go through an increase in awareness of abundance and prosperity. You know, we can do this from a worldly point of view, and we can write a check and nothing changes. But if we can embody what that first part that I read says, then it shifts the consciousness entirely for us as an organization. And at this time, Claire, our board president, is going to come up next.
start us off, I'm going to read this quote from Viktor Frankl, and I think you'll understand the reason for this quote as we move through. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. So today we will be presenting you with stimulus upon stimulus in this form of information. And I ask you to lengthen the response between the stimulus, or lengthen the time between the stimulus and your response. I know that when it comes to the topic of money, there's a real energy around money, and it often elicits within us a natural response of resistance and fear. And, well, I'll just stop there with resistance. And so I ask you to lengthen that response so that you may choose consciously how you wish to respond. I invite us all to exercise our power of prospering, a quality that is innate in us all. This takes place in our consciousness, and it's a spiritual endeavor. So I just want to bring this meeting into the context of our spiritual choices. Those of you that have been part of the A Course of Love study groups or have read it on your own know that one of the deep spiritual principles of A Course of Love is that giving and receiving are one. And I often, in my mind, my heart's mind, see this as sort of a flowing river that goes in a circle. And as the river moves in one direction and gives itself to the next mile, it makes space for the river that's coming to replace it. And so as we think about giving, we're making space to receive. And as we receive, we then keep that flow going by giving. So the question is, are we ready to receive? And are we willing to give in return? Because there can be blocks on either side. Some of us need more healing in terms of receiving, and others need more healing in terms of giving. So to get to the meat of the meeting, over the past few years, we've been very diligent in reducing our expenses, and indeed reducing our budget overall. A few years ago, the overall yearly annual budget was about $200,000. In 2019, it's $189,000. And why has it decreased? Well, we are committed to a principle of not budgeting beyond our income. Things that we've done, just one example of something we've done to reduce the need for more money, to reduce our budgeted expenses, is to eliminate the landscaping position. And so I really want to take a moment to thank people for coming and doing part of the property cleanup. And I don't know if Catherine Arbini is still here, but she was here a week ago planting flowers. I really appreciate the people who stepped up to fill the void of that. We've always operated on this balanced budget premise, which means that expenses cannot be budgeted to exceed income. Unfortunately, our monthly income has seen a gradual decline during that time, and due to some major givers either moving away or dying, we have had a reduction in our income. So we know that the cost of living goes up every year by a few percentage points, and without a similar increasing in the giving of our community, we fall behind financially. Things like facility costs such as water, phone, gas, and electric bills have increased in that time. And importantly, even if we have a balanced budget holding costs to previous years, this holding costs down doesn't allow for any increases in staff salary or upgrades to equipment or programs. And this is not part of the script, but I want to take a moment to address staff salary. It's been an ache in my heart since I've been on the board for 4 or 5 years that there has not been one increase in the staff salary, specifically for Reverend Jerry. And if you miss him on some Sundays a month, that's because in order to try and to replace a staff salary, his increase in his salary, we said, well, we'll give you time off. But that's really, I think he's never said one way or the other to me, so I'm not going to try to imagine what he feels about that. But that is a cost to us, not to have him with us every Sunday, but that was a way to give him a salary increase without increasing expenses for the community. So when staff haven't received an increase in salary for several years, what does that mean? It means they're actually earning less than they were 3 to 5 years ago. So the important question that I'm going to ask you to, is the stimulus that I want to ask you to lengthen the space between the stimulus and the response. And that is, has your giving increased over the last 5 years? We know that the cost of living goes up every year, and your cost of living has gone up every year. But anything that you can do to consistently increase your giving each month would be of great help to the financial stability of our community. And anything that you can give over and above what you normally would give between now and the end of the year will help us to decrease the deficit that we're facing right now. To further take this a step further, I invite Jim to come forward. Jim is the vice president of the board. Jim?
Thanks, Greg. So in this current moment, we are called upon to bridge a gap between our income and expenses for the current year. Our budget for January through September projected income at $135,000, but actual income was at $122,500. Projected expenses were $135,000, but they actually came in $2,000 less at $133,000, which means that we have a gap of $10,500 that needs to be filled before December 31st. This is the first business at hand. How do we close that gap in the next 6 weeks? So we're asking for some one-time donations over and above what people normally donate to Unity. With as many people as possible pitching in together, we can bridge that gap easily. We are anticipating some income from the silent auction, and so we have set a goal of $9,500 for the short financial campaign between now and December 31st. Also, we will not be taking up our usual collection for the Christmas gift for staff this year. Our intention is to make a gift from the monies collected in the campaign. So Jerry's pulling up a slide here. You can go over the numbers, gifts, and dollar amounts. Obviously, if anyone feels like giving a bigger gift, it'll obviously be joyfully received. Of course. We'll have the special envelopes made up for one-time over and above gifts so that we can keep track of the amounts donated. Yeah.
I can't see that.
I'm going to be reading some things here, so this will help.
Well, that isn't.
Okay.
So just for this particular slide, what it says is, and I'm sorry that I should have really checked this out before. Anyway, so the first one is $25. We're looking for 80 gifts of $25. Then we're looking for 25 gifts of $50. And we're looking for 20 gifts of $100. And we're looking for 12 gifts of $250. And that gets us to where we would like to be in terms of our goal for this campaign. And as Jim said, if people want to give over and above that, that's great. But what we're trying to do is to make it equitable and spread throughout the community so that everybody can participate at that level and not burden one or two people.
Great. So let's take a look at some of the patterns of giving. Did you know that the following is true? The top 10 monthly gifts are as follows. One couple gives $1,100. One person donates $1,000. One person donates $850. One couple donates $750. one couple $500, one couple $450, one couple $420, one person $400, one person $380, one person $340. So it's important to share that information because it gives perspective on the patterns of giving. These donors tithe 10% from their income, and we're extremely grateful that they do. And even with these generous gifts, we still don't meet our projected required income each month. While big gifts are important, the clear message is that medium and small gifts are equally as important. We realize that not everyone can give like our top donors, but we would like to ask you to take a look at your giving. What percentage do you give? Do you know? Would you be willing to make a leap of faith and give a certain percentage every month? Consistent giving is the foundation of any ministry so that it can thrive. Just as you need to know that you will have income each month to pay your bills, so too does your spiritual center. And who wants to just get by with nothing left at the end of the month? No one. What we would like to see is a commitment by everyone to make 2020 a year in which we change the paradigm of giving here at Unity. From sporadic to consistent, from scarcity to abundance. And we would like to get a head start starting this month. And I'm going to pass the mic on to Yvonne.
Yeah.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Yvonne. I'm the treasurer here. I've been a member of Unity for 29 years.
Wow.
And Unity has changed my life significantly and the life of my family and my children. Unity has helped me through some extremely difficult times in my life. And with the peace and with the wisdom and the support that I have from this beautiful spiritual family, I've been able to go through with grace and with ease. And I'm extremely grateful and eternally grateful for that. So thank you, everybody, for being here and being a part of this. So I want to ask you to spend some time in contemplation and ask yourself, what value do you place on your spiritual life? What does Unity mean to you? How have you benefited from this amazing center? And how have you become a more whole and peaceful and loving and forgiving and happy person because of Unity? So translating value into physical form, what monetary value do you place on Unity? I don't know if any of you take classes outside of Unity, but I do on occasion. And the last class I took online was $325, and it was a really good class. But the reality is that the classes and the services that we invest in ourselves costs money. And what other kinds of purchases do you make for yourself? Like a $15 yoga class, or a $10 movie, or a $4 coffee, psychotherapy, energy work, all of the things that we invest in our own personal being, our own growth, our own happiness, our own joy. They all cost money. That's the reality of the situation. So I ask you to think about how you budget your money. Your budget for entertainment, your budget for vacations, for self-care. Most of the donations that we receive here at Unity are from the Sunday service offerings. And as you know, we have a budget deficit this year. And as explained, not because we overspent, but because the income has fallen short. In the winter, we had snow days that caused the service to be closed, and we lost almost $1,000 during that time. Recent power outages closed classes and services here, and so we lost some income from that. We do maintain a very strict, tight and balanced budget here, which doesn't allow for snow days and power outages. And, you know, we do the best we can to foresee events, but we can't always foresee them all. What is most helpful for Unity is for people to give consistently. No matter how often you attend, consistency is the key. Having reliable, consistent income is crucial. It's like a subscription. It's always available. What does it mean to you to know that Unity is here? Whether you come or not, whether you've been away for the summer, you know it's here for you whenever you need it. It's here because of all of you and because of, you know, I want to say over hundreds of years of people, of like-minded, loving individuals knowing the importance of this. So we ask you to take some contemplative time to make some conscious and guided decisions about how you choose to support Unity. For those of you already giving 10%, we thank you very much. We're not asking anything more of you unless you want to and are able to make a one-time donation to bridge this gap this year. For those of you who are not giving on a consistent, regular basis, we're asking you to take a mindful look at your budget and decide between you and the divine how much, what percentage can you give, and add that to your budget and give consistently. If not 10%, then what percent are you able to give? And that's between just you and your own higher self. One easy way to make things simple is to just write a one-time check each month, have automatic payments arranged. You can work with Leslie in the office. She'll be happy to help you with that. We thank you for taking this contemplative time, taking the time, going into meditation, really thinking about it, and reassessing your giving. We thank you for putting that energy forth very much. Also, giving comes in many different forms. Other ways to give, as I think Claire mentioned, was through your time and talents. We are able to lower expenses when people help out with landscaping and website design and other services. So thank you to those of you who do that also. Thank you very much. And lastly, I also, again, with everyone else, invite you to remember the energy in which the giving is done. Energy, when we learn how to give in the energy of pure gratitude and love, it just is so much more meaningful. It keeps us in the divine flow of the giving and receiving. So I invite you to just keep that in mind. We thank you very much for all of your past support, your current support, and all the support that we know that will come to us in the future. Namaste.
Okay, lesson learned. I should have brought the slides in and put them up there because I can't read them. But I think it's coming up smaller too for some reason on the screen. But basically what it's just showing there is, income on the far column. It's showing what 10% is, what 5% is, what 2.5% is. Or, you can look at 1%. But, we've said over and over again that it's the consistent giving that whether you're here on the Sundays you're normally here, whether you have classes you normally come to, but at the end of the month you have given what you normally give. And that's becoming more and more relevant with snow days, wind days, power days. We're closing the center because of these climate change things. So if you think climate change isn't affecting us, yes it is. Affecting the bottom line as well as other things. So any questions at this point? We will be putting together a handout with the main points from this, about the number of gifts that we're looking for, and also this chart about the percentage giving, and some other relevant points from the presentation overall. So any questions? Pat?
Yeah,